In my career, the thing that animates everyone is family unification. Do I know where my kid is? Do I know where my spouse is? Do I know where my parents
Juliet,
are?
I want to break in right here. We're hearing from Scotland Yard right now. Let's listen.
Police resources across the capital. Finally, I'd ask the public to be vigilant and contact the police if they've got any concerns.
Assistant Commissioner, can you just tell us, is this incident completely over now?
Finally, I'd ask the public to be vigilant and contact the police if they've got any concerns.
Assistant Commissioner, can you just tell us, is this incident completely over now?
Our current belief is that there were 3 attackers, but this is early on, so we've still got some inquiries to work through to be completely confident about that.
There were 3 attackers in the vehicle, so the attackers from the vehicle have all been killed.
So this is a protracted incident that starts on the bridge and finishes in Borough Market, and we believe 3 people were involved. But we've still got some more inquiries to do to be 100% confident in that.
Can you tell us anything more about the attacks, where the people were killed?
No, you're asking for a lot of detail there.
Yeah.
We're still getting to the bottom of exactly what's gone on, the number of casualties, and it's still quite a complex scene. As you'll have understood from what I've said, we're still dealing with the fact that we suspected that at one stage to be explosives, albeit that's now been ruled out. Last question.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the people who are involved in the operation to bring down these terrorists?
So the public will be aware that we have strengthened our armed policing presence across London in recent years. So we've got more armed response vehicles to hand, and it's those armed response vehicles who are out driving around London day in and day out to protect the public. They responded quickly, bravely confronted these 3 individuals, shot them, and they are dead. That's finished, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, that was just a very brief press briefing with an official from Scotland Yard, and we're learning now 6 people have been killed, plus 3 attackers who were killed, shot dead, as he just said, shot dead by law enforcement who were able to respond very quickly. The other piece of information that we learned is a little bit of the timeline here. It sounds like it was the same attackers who were involved in the bridge incident who later moved into the Borough Market area and participated in that stabbing incident. Again, 2 incidents that appear to be connected now. They say these 3 attackers, that the incident started on London Bridge, with the van mowing over people, and then moved, as he worded it, into the Borough Market area where there was the stabbing attack. Police were able to respond quickly. They engaged these 3 attackers and shot and killed them.
Yeah, Juliet Kayam is with us right now. It was a very brief statement from Scotland Yard, Juliet, but a lot of information packed in there. Again, we now know 6 people killed in an attack that included a van and some knives, right? The van mowed down people on London Bridge. Then the attackers went to the restaurant there where they stabbed people inside the restaurant. We don't know if people died in both the bridge and the restaurant, the breakdown there. And we also know 3 assailants dead. And we also know that these 2 attacks now definitively connected. It was the same 3 people in the van that then went to the restaurant. And it seems as if Scotland Yard believes it was just those 3 people.
Yeah, I think that my big takeaway is a statement by Scotland Yard to, I think, the public, which is this is not one event, 2 events, and we should anticipate 3 and 4. It was the same 3 guys. At least he was cautious and saying we don't know if there was more, and so that this night is over, so to speak. In other words, that they feel as if they've contained whatever ongoing threat that could be. That's important because the British obviously have Paris in the back of their mind and sort of a series of 3-4 attacks that occurred over a night. I think the second big takeaway for me is not even a hint of who this might be or who these people are. They clearly know who they are. They're dead. And so part of what we'll learn over the next couple hours. But I just thought there was not even any we have the names. Remember, they came out with the name relatively quickly 2 weeks ago after Manchester. So those are my 2 big takeaways from a very short but very direct press conference.
Okay, Juliet, stand by. We have new video coming in now, posted on Twitter that apparently shows a Hertz van. The British media is saying is the van involved in the London Bridge and Borough Market attacks. That Hertz van there in the middle of the screen, it appears. And again, this is the van that people say was plowing through people who were on the bridge a little after 10 o'clock. Local time there this evening, and of course it was an evening that was a beautiful night. We were told people were out and about, a lot of people taking pictures on that bridge. The water was still and calm, and This came out of nowhere. We heard of one eyewitness say he saw at least 5 or 6 people then on the ground following the van coming through. Another person who jumped into the air or was tossed into the air 20 or 30 feet as it was hit. That person was hit by the van, and another person jumping off the bridge. But the latest reporting when it comes to casualties, 6 people who were killed and 3 attackers who were then shot by police. CNN senior international correspondent Fred Plakin is joining us now. Fred, you arrived on the scene not long after the incident was reported on London Bridge. We just heard from the police there, Britain. It sounds like they believe that this attack is now over, although they aren't ruling anything out, and they are continuing their investigation.
Very used to it.
Yeah, and that's certainly, Anna, exactly what we're seeing on the ground here as well. I think you can see those blue lights flashing behind me. Those are obviously all still police vehicles that are going in and out here very close to the scene of where the initial attack there on London Bridge took place. So you can see that this investigation is still going on. We can also see a lot of police officers, some of them quite heavily armed, roaming around the streets here close to where we are, simply still checking on places, seeing if there still is anything suspicious going on. And really in the early stages after this attack took place, I'd say I was here about half an hour, maybe a little more, after it took place. You could see that the police at that point in time did not know how big this attack was in scale and scope. And so they were really trying to evacuate all of the people out of this area. And then also, though, trying to take people into custody, search people who they believed might be connected to all of this. I spoke to one eyewitness who said that he witnessed that. He saw some police officers push several people close to a shop and then sort of search them and see if they had any sort of connection. So there was a great deal of chaos in the early, let's say, at least in the first hour after this incident took place. And then, of course, there was the big question about whether or not those 2 attacks were related, the one at Borough Market and the one on London Bridge. Of course, you guys have been saying very correctly that those 2 areas very, very close to one another. So there were people who, from the very beginning, said they believed they might be connected. But, of course, that was unclear. Now the London police coming out and saying they believe, yes, they were. It was the same 3 attackers. It certainly was a lot of chaos, though, here in the early stages after that attack took place. It's quieted down now a little bit. I can show you guys around a little bit. You can see over there still is the police in place. You have these 2 cops here who are doing more to sort of regulate the traffic of police vehicles coming in and out of the cordoned area. We're about 100 yards, maybe 80 yards from where the initial incident on London Bridge took place. And you can see, if we pan up again, we have the Shard there, that very iconic London skyscraper. That's around where Borough Market is. So it is very, very close, all of these places where these incidents took place, to each other. And that's one of the reasons, again, why so many people thought, or why some thought initially, that these incidents were connected. We now are learning from the London police that they were. And I have to say one thing, they were very, very quick to respond to this. There were officers here on the scene very, very quickly, cordoning the area off, trying to get people out of here as fast as possible. Clearly, the London police very, very experienced in dealing with situations like the one that unfolded here tonight, guys.
In fact, according to Mark Rowley of Scotland Yard, who's the Assistant Commissioner of Special Ops we just heard from, British police were on the scene within 8 minutes. After these 3 assailants started stabbing people in the restaurant there, it was 8 minutes after that, according to the statement we just heard, that the 3 assailants were shot dead. So this all happened in a very short period of time. It was actually over right after it started, Fred, practically, and then it went on for hours and hours. We kept on hearing blasts. The area was cordoned off. They still weren't certain that they had everybody.
Yeah, and I mean, we have to keep in mind that all of this took place in absolute chaos as these people were walking through the streets, stabbing people, and obviously being very dangerous after initially running several people over on this bridge. And to, within that chaos, identify the people who are dangerous and then take them out. I think that does show how fast the police officers were here. And it's one of the things that you notice when you live in this city, John. It is remarkable that you don't really see a massive police presence on the ground here on a regular day. But once something happens, they do show up in force very, very quickly. Very professional police force here.
All right, Fred Plakin in London for us, near London Bridge, where this attack all began to unfold, and now going on almost 6 hours. Fred Plakin, stand by.
This is CNN Breaking News.
Breaking news here at CNN. We want to welcome our viewers in the United States and around the world. I'm Anna Cabrera.
And I'm John Berman. If you're just joining us,